Hi, this is an explanation and a demonstration of how to do the Chapter 5 CPU project. So let's go ahead and start with looking at the project. So you have to have already made a choice, and in this case I'm logged in as Evan Zerwell. So I'm going to say I'm going to do this choice. I've chosen to be best value home and best value gamer, which means I'm going to pick, using my home motherboard and my gamer motherboard, the best value options. So let's take a look at the presentation itself to make sure we understand what the presentation is. So I'm going to open up both the project and the project rubric. So here's the general guidelines. First of all, we're not representing who we represented on the motherboard. We're just using that as an example and as our basis for how we're going to choose our CPUs. We are representing either Intel or AMD. That's who we work for this time. And we're going to present two CPUs from that manufacturer, and we're going to include this information right here on those CPUs, as well as a works cited at the end. So let's take a look at what that means in general. So first of all, we just said we're going to use the motherboards from our motherboard project. And so when we do this presentation, we're going to introduce ourselves and say, hey, we're going to do best value gamer and best value home motherboard from our presentation. Our company background here is going to be about AMD or Intel, not about who the motherboard was. It's about who the CPU is. Then we're going to talk about these 5 points on our motherboard before talking about the CPU that we had selected. So let's go ahead and start that presentation. I'm going to go ahead and make a new Google slide, and I'm going to call it CPU presentation. And the first thing I'm going to do before I do anything else is to grab the 2 slides from my motherboard presentation on the motherboard itself. So in this case, I'm being Mr. Zerwell. He did Gigabyte, but his sockets were AMD, which means my company is going to be AMD. Just to remind myself what I'm working on. And then I have to grab just the CPU or the motherboard for the home. So I'm going to go and grab the home motherboard. So here's my home PC motherboard. I'm going to go ahead and take that slide, and I'm going to copy it over here to this slide. Let me put them next to each other. But that's not what I really need. I really need the CPU socket, right? So I'm going to copy that over to my presentation as well. So I've got an introduction to the PC, being a Gigabyte motherboard, and then the CPU socket slide. Now, what is really is important here is that I look at the rubric items that I've got to show. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that rubric back up. And the rubric items I have to show is the motherboard name, form factor, speed, CPU socket, and CPUs. I don't need to have a ton of slides. In fact, I could just use this one for my presentation. I just need to get the kind of motherboard. So that's the motherboard name. I'm going to go ahead and copy that to my motherboard here. So there's a Gigabyte, and that's the first thing on the rubric is the motherboard name. Then the socket type is AMD, and the supported are AM4, and the supported ones are 3000, 4000, 5000 series Ryzen processors. So that's the first thing on that rubric. Let's go back over there. And then, so I've got the motherboard name. Do I have the form factor? No. So I'm going to go ahead and grab, if I can find the motherboard form factor here, it's a micro ATX form factor. I don't need to have all these slides. I can say form factor and just put that. Oop, I didn't mean to do that. I just mean to say micro ATX. The next thing on my rubric that I need to have for my motherboard, oops, slid that down a little bit. Next thing I need to have, so I've got the name, I've got the form factor, I need the speed, I've got the CPUs and the CPU socket. So all I need from the speed is from that presentation on here. If we go and look at the memory section, we know it's the fastest non-overclock speed, so it's a 3200 megahertz bus. 3200 megahertz. And that's everything from that. If we look at that motherboard name, form factor right there, speed 3200 megahertz, socket AM4, supported motherboard CPUs are the 3000, 4000, and 5000 series AM4 sockets. So that's it. I got full points there. I can go ahead and remove these other slides. I don't need them. So now I want to choose this one, and I'm going to put it up here. I'm going to put best value CPU. So now we need to find the best value CPU. I'm going to go ahead and go to Passmark CPU. And once I go to Passmark CPU, I'm going to go to the best value chart. So I'm going to go down here, and there's a best value on the market. There we go. And now I've got to go down through here and find the one that's the highest, that's the right CPU. So I'm going to just right click on these first three, and you see they open in order. Is this an AM4? No. Is this an AM4? Yes. And it's a 5000 series. So we've already found the CPU. So I need the information for this CPU right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just take this, and I'm going to screen capture it, because all the information that I need almost is right here on this page. And then I'm going to go and crop it. You can do it however you like screen capturing and cropping. And I'm going to get all the information down to the rank so that I have all this information. I'm going to go ahead and crop it. And I'm going to say done, and I'm going to copy that information, and I'm going to put it down on the next slide, because that is almost all the information I need. The only thing I don't have is a picture of that CPU. So if I wanted to, I could highlight this, I could right click and Google it, and then I could go to images. I could find a good picture of the Ryzen 5 1500. There's one right there. I'm going to right click and open image, a new tab. So I've got this huge image of it. I'm going to copy the image, go back to my presentation, drop that in there. That is a little ginormous, isn't it? We don't need it to be that big. In fact, I'm going to go, I'm grabbing the wrong side. Sorry about that. I'm going to go and grab it and put it. See how big I can get it right down here, because I don't need the samples. I'm going to go ahead and slide it over so it's well centered with my presentation there. And okay, so let's look at the rubric for CPUs and see if I have everything I need. On my rubric, I need the CPU core speed. Okay, so the first thing it says is CPU clock speed. And I think it'll be easier if I just do this. I just use shapes and highlight those things that I know that I've got to mention. Okay, so I got the big things highlighted there. That's probably good enough. So when I look at this one now, if I'm doing the presentation, I remember to say that it's AMD Ryzen 550 500. The clock speed is 3.6 gigahertz. I didn't do the cores and threads. I should probably circle that too. AM4 socket. Here's the CPU cache. I'm going to go ahead and circle that other one too. just to remind myself to mention it, so that I mention all those things that I know I have to do. So let's take a look at the rubric again, just to see if we've got all those points now. So if I look at the rubric, I've got to say the CPU clock speed, there it is. Cores and threads, there they are. Cache, there it is. CPU socket type, I have that highlighted right there as an AM4. And then the Passmark CPU rating. This is direct, oops, I didn't mean to close that, directly off the CPU or the Passmark site. There's my multi-thread rating, my single thread rating, and the overall rank among CPUs. So this is the 249 fastest out of 1,406 CPUs. That means it's in the top quarter at least on speed. So there I've got those two done. I've got to get my AMD background done. I don't really like this theme. I might switch that around. Let's go ahead and look at the second one then. The other one is, the other one we said was Best Value Gamer. So let's go ahead and grab our gamer motherboard. Let's see where it's, so there we go. There's our gaming motherboard. I'm going to go ahead and grab all these slides and copy them over here, and then I'm going to delete them when I'm done. So here is our gaming motherboard. No, I didn't want to link. No! Oh, now I closed something else. I don't even know what I wanted. Okay, so I've got the name of the motherboard. It's a Best Value Gamer. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my CPU socket information and toss it on there. And then as soon as I get that information, I'm just going to delete it. So form factor. Oh, meant to just grab it. We know we need to know that. Let's see, we can delete that slide now. Memory, all we need to know from memory is that it takes 5,600 megahertz. So I'm going to say speed, 5,600 megahertz. And then let's see, so we've got the form factor, allowable CPUs, socket type. What else do we need on there? Taking a look at the rubric again. On our motherboard, we need name, form factor, speed, CPU socket, and CPUs accepted. We've got it all in there, so we can delete the rest of this information. Don't need that on there. We just need to go ahead and say that we're going to do the Best Value Gamer. So now I'm going to go back to the exact same spot I was on Passmark, and I'm going to go to the Best Value chart again. There we go, Best Value on the market. And we want now the first AM5 socket that is going to work on that. So I'm going to go ahead and go here and start down. We know that's not AM5s. Going down. Ryzen 7, is that an AM5 socket? Let's take a look. And it's AM4 still. Oh, we said it was 7,000, 8,000. We're going to have to go pretty far down here to get the best value. I don't think that one is either. Unfortunately, we don't have a button that just says by socket type on this one. Oh, 7,600. Let's see if that one's. And that one is. So that was our highest one for best value. And let's go ahead and take a look at this one then. So the Ryzen 5 5600X. Again, I don't have to type all this up. I can just take a screen capture of it and then go and crop that information out, because all the information is given by Passmark. Oop, that's not the tool that I wanted. I wanted the crop tool. And I want to crop all the way down to the rank. So I've got that rank on there too. So I'm going to do this CPU. I'm going to go back up here. You know what we didn't do was the price. So we've got to find the Ryzen 5 5500 to buy. So let's say I'm going to go Amazon. We'll go ahead and use that one this time. Ryzen 5 5500. There's the Ryzen 5 5500 right there. We can use this one on Amazon as our price. So I'm going to go ahead and do a screen capture of that. And I'm going to crop that. I don't like having all that junk in there. So I'm going to go ahead and crop it to just the information that we need, which is right probably there is good enough to show that we found it for $83. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that in here before we start our next presentation. So we found it for $83 on Amazon. And I'm going to make that a link so that we fulfill all of our obligations there on the rubric. So I can just highlight that, insert, link, add the link there, and hit apply. And now when we're doing this presentation, we've got our motherboard, all the information on our motherboard. We've got our CPU, all the information on our CPU with a good graphic. We've got the cost with a working link that I can click on that's going to open right up into Amazon, where we wanted to show that we actually found it for $73. That's the last part of this rubric that I just skipped over. So we've got the motherboard information, we got the CPU information, and then we got cost is defined with the link to where it's found. For full points, it has to have a link that works. So we've done that on that one. Let's go to the second one then. And we've got our motherboard information. That's the best value gamer. What we need to add to this now is the Ryzen 5 7600. An image on that, so I can just Google it and go to images, find a nice Ryzen 5 7600 picture. That's the 7600X. Is that what we're doing? Nope, it's not. So make sure we get the right one. That is not a high-end image picture. And just to make sure I know, no, it's Ryzen 5 7600, not the X. X. Is there? Okay, and then we have to add the cost onto these as well. So I need the 7600 that we just found the price for. And go ahead and do the same thing with that. And we have to say how much it cost. $184. And add a link. So we need to go and take that spot right there, copy that, and I just like to highlight and insert the link on the text. Not required, but nobody really wants to read the text. Okay, last thing is we need a question slide. And then we need a works cited slide. Now, there's a lot of different way to do the works cited. You can do a site called EasyBib if you want to. You can use Citation Machine, or you can use ChatGPT, and I'm going to do that and show you how I use ChatGPT to do my citations. So I might as well start with the ones that are open. Please cite this website in MLA format. Dash, and then just let's pick our first one here. We'll go ahead and pick that one. And we're going to put ChatGPT. There we go. Okay, and our other one is going to be this Ryzen one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that one. I'm going to go back to ChatGPT. Now do please make the date today for these and future citations in this. Okay, so let's go to the other ones that we used. We obviously used this one. Now and we just drop it in there. And the other one we did was let's see, we got the 5500, and we did this one. Now and let's see, I'm going to do all about how AMD. Sorry. No, not all about history. That was dumb. AMD. Let's see. I'm just going to use this site for our information about AMD. So I'm going to go ahead while I'm doing the citations. Now do this one. And I'm going to copy this text from my AMD slide. Put it in here. Spelled that completely wrong, but that's good enough. And I'm going to grab a map of where it's at. That's not right. And I'm going to go back over here. Now turn these all into works cited. And it's going to be, and put it all in there in alphabetical order for us. And the nice thing is I can just hit this copy button now, go over here to my works cited, paste it in here. And if I want to do the indent right, which obviously I do, I'm going to do that. So I fix the indenture, and I might even, since I've got room for it, raise. Oh, that's as big as I can get. So I got my works cited done there. Last thing I have to do is my picture of where Santa Clara. I'm going to zoom out some to show where Santa Clara, California is on the map. Good enough for me. Okay, so I've got AMD. I'm going to obviously put my name in there, a little bit about AMD, where the headquarters is, and a picture of the headquarters. And then I've got my first CPU or first motherboard, first CPU, and the price, second motherboard, second CPU, and the price, a question slide, and works cited. And that is it. We are done. The only thing I might want to do, which I would want to do, is I'm going to format and put slide transitions in. So I'm going to go ahead and do transition. I'm going to go and do dissolve and apply to all slides. So I've got transitions in there. You know what? Let's go ahead and pick a there we go, a slide theme. Nope. I'm going to pick a theme, not edit that theme. Slide, change theme, pick at least something. There we go. And it's good enough. Let's see. I don't like that theme. Sure, I'll stick with that. So, okay, I'm all done with my CPU presentation, and that is it.